Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I am going to go over the plot diagram for Death of a Salesman. The first thing that we see is we meet Willie Loman, the salesman, his wife, and his two sons. It is the evening of the first day, and Willie tried to go to work. However, he was unable to keep his mind on his on the road, and he finds that he had to turn around, come home, and when he gets home, it's nighttime because everybody's in bed. Linda's in bed, the boys are in bed, and they are surprised to see Willie is back home. We see that Biff and Willie are in conflict because they do not agree on Biff's career choice. Willie is very frustrated about what's going on with Biff. He doesn't like that Biff is not settled, and that he's been spending time on a ranch with horses. Willie doesn't think that is a very meaningful activity. He sees that as something uh, a young man would do, but by Biff's age, he should be settled. Biff, by the way, is 34 years old, and Happy is 32. Through flashbacks, it's revealed that Willie had an affair when the boys were in high school. So a lot of this play takes place in Willie's mind, and as we enter into his thoughts, we see that he is very concerned about the past when the boys were around high school age, Biff being a senior in high school. And we also get a sense that around that same time, Willie was having a relationship with a woman other than his wife. We also meet Ben, his brother, who's very prosperous. And we see when Ben was alive, Ben in real time has died just a few days before this play begins. We also meet Charlie, the neighbor, and Charlie's son, whose name is Bernard. Linda announces that Willie is trying to kill himself, first by crashing his car and also by inhaling gas from the water heater. So if Willie doesn't have enough courage to crash the car, he plans to simply go into the basement one night, um, attach a rubber tube to the gas valve of the water heater and inhale the gas and commit suicide that way. And Linda knows about it and has not confronted her husband about this and feels that she would be insulting him, hurting his pride to bring up the topic with him. So she removes the rubber tube in the morning, but before Willie returns from work, she puts it back. Willie wakes with a new energy and confidence that he will convince Howard Wagner to give him a New York job. So this is after the end of Act 1, where they have decided that they have a plan for the future. Willie's going to go into the city, talk to his boss, and demand that he not have to travel 700 miles anymore to sell his wares. And Biff is going to go and meet with someone that he used to work for and get money to start a business. And the next morning, Willie wakes with great energy, vigor. He seems so happy. He's on top of the world. He's in a euphoria. And everything looks bright. It's very similar to Romeo after his marriage, but before he kills Tybalt. When Willie gets to the city, Howard actually fires him when Willie comes to ask for the New York job. And we recognize this as peripeteia, or reversal of fortune. So now we are on the downward side of the triangle. And After yelling at Howard, Willie recognizes his mistake. He recognizes that he has done something wrong, and this is called anagnosis, which is called recognition, and it's part of the elements of tragedy. Please see my other video on the elements of tragedy. Willie goes to Charlie for money after he's been fired. There he runs into Bernard, who is a prosperous lawyer. In Act 1, Willie had made fun of Bernard because he felt that Bernard was anemic, meaning not strong, not athletic. He was bookish. He didn't seem manly at all. But now in Act 2, we realize that there must have been something truly wrong with Willie's values, because it is Bernard who turns out to be the success. He seems more handsome, self-assured, accomplished. As a matter of fact, he's a lawyer who's about to argue a case in front of the Supreme Court, and Willie is very impressed by this. After meeting the boys in a restaurant and hearing of Biff's failure with Bill Oliver, repressed memories overwhelm Willie. Now, everybody who thinks Willie has dementia, Willie has Alzheimer's, that's not the problem with Willie. Willie has been repressing memories of a terrible day in his life, and now those memories refuse to be held back. All of those memories that he has held down want to escape. They want to be dealt with. And so in the restaurant, he's overwhelmed by these memories. And this is when we find out what happened in Boston. Willie remembers the past when Biff went to Boston after failing his math finals. There he catches his father with his mistress. Biff is crushed by the realization of his father's betrayal and persona. And some people are confused. Why does this so devastate Biff? Has he been living in a bubble? And it's really the contrast between how Willie presented himself to his sons as a paragon, as someone who was larger than life. There's a whole issue of mythology in this play. There's the mythology of the father and the flute, and traveling across the country selling flutes and making tons of money by doing that, which is completely illogical. And the mythology of Ben going into the jungle and, you know, coming out rich, and we don't know exactly how he was able to go into this jungle and come out rich. So there's a lot of myth making, and Willie too was making a myth for his sons that he was this great man, and he would go and the mayor would want to talk to him, and the police would take care of his car. He made himself such a larger than life character in the minds of his boys, and they had nothing to contradict it because he was always away. So they believed everything that they were told. And so when Biff goes to Boston and sees that his father is a liar and a cheat, it's all the more devastating because he had Willie on such a tall pedestal, and the fall is so great that it really almost shatters Biff's psyche, and he can't do any of the things he wanted to do in order to please his father. They seem like fruitless ambitions, and he gives up on college, he gives up on a professional career, and he flounders for about 16 years. It's a long time that he flounders. And it's really all because of how Willie inflated who he was to his sons. Yeah. All right. The next part, um, after the restaurant, when the boys go home, Biff desperately tries to get Willie to see the truth that they are only common men and will never achieve greatness. Willie rebels vehemently, angrily, against the notion that he is only a dime a dozen. That's impossible, that he could only be a dime a dozen. He won't accept it. Biff shows love towards his father and cries. This is the catharsis. When this is the catharsis actually here, when that great emotional outpouring occurs, and Biff tries to get his father to let go of the false dream, except Willie cannot. And that's his tragic flaw. When presented with an opportunity to change and see life in a new way, Willie cannot change. His tragic flaw is that he's holding on to the false dream. He's holding on to his false pride, and he refuses to change. And that is his ultimate downfall. When we get to the Requiem, no one comes to the funeral except the family and the neighbors. That would be Charlie and Bernard. So it's just a few who come to the funeral. And we realize that Willie was nothing like the person he presented himself to be. No one else comes, so people must have had a much more negative opinion of him than we realize. Because usually your boss would come, your coworkers would come. So Arthur Miller creates a staggeringly stark image with just those very close family members there in the graveyard. And it's truly amazing. And Biff realizes that Willie's values and his dream was destructive. It was a false dream. However, Happy vows to live out Willie's dream. So you have one brother who faces reality and turns away from the false dream, and another brother who wants to stay in the illusion, because we're thinking about illusion versus reality, who won't let go of the illusion and holds on to it and vows to make it come true. And so we see Happy maybe isn't going to end up any better than Willie. But Biff, there's hope with Biff. There's hope that Biff will be able to find his own American dream, his own happiness, and his own self-acceptance. Okay, that's all I have to say. Shout out to my period 2 class. Hi, Russell. Hi, everybody. Make sure you take great notes and be ready for class next time. Okay? See you guys soon. Bye-bye.